3, 2, 1. Oh boy, how are we, folks? Welcome to another episode of the Josh Potter Show. How are you? Thanks for joining us again in a whole new year, 2025. We did our New Year's episode last week, New Year's Day. So technically it's the second episode, but it's the first time I'm here in 2025 with you. Let's face it. Hope you had a fun holiday. Hopefully you and your family didn't kill each other. We got a Christmas Eve story in here coming up in the news. That's exciting. It's about murder. It's great. But that's later on. Otherwise, I want you to rate, review, subscribe, do the whole thing. Like the friggin' video, whatever it takes. Get this thing up in the algorithm, will ya? For God's sakes. TheJoshPotter.com, by the way, is the website. Go there, push all the buttons on it. I don't know. As far as live shows go this month, I'll be with Annie in Greensboro, South Carolina. It's in one of the Carolinas, Greensboro. If you live there, you know where it is. Come on out to that. That's at the end of the month. Otherwise, keep it right here to the Josh Potter Show, friends. Also, of course, Behind the Jeans every Wednesday. If you're watching this, it'll air live on the day this comes out, Wednesday, at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Oh boy, we got so many fun things for 2025 in the works. I mean, guests, I'm lining them up. Next week, we're going to have Saul Trujillo in here, and he's just on Colbert. So fresh off his Colbert, folks, we'll have Saul Trujillo in the studio. Thanks to Griff Parker for that bad boy. And I want to give a shout out to a couple other roaches out there. Emmeline, shout out to her. She just graduated with her master's degree. She was so excited. She told me all about it. And we wanted to give her a shout. We want to congratulate the roaches. I love when people send emails into JoshPotterShow@gmail.com. They don't have to be roach reportings, though I do appreciate those. Those are the things that keep the show moving along. I can make another show because of the roach reporters. I'm so thankful. But also, I want to know what the hell's going on in your life. I also got this email from Caitlin. She said, "Hello, Papa Roach. Oh my goodness, I'm such a huge fan. Weekly listener since you were over at YMH, and the queef of the week was like a legit queef sent in." Yeah, people in the beginning didn't get what queef of the week was. I think that's why I kind of abandoned queef of the week, because people were actually thinking like, maybe I get to be queef of the week, and they would just send in the noise. No, I just wanted the noise. I wanted to have like a plethora of queef sounds so that I could use them for the soundbite, you know?
Queef of the week.
And that is a queef. The one that's on there, that's a real one. So yeah, no, I wanted to get like a montage, like a rotator, if you will, of queef sounds for that. And people were like, oh, I get to be queef of that. Like I was just listening to queefs and having queef of the week. Yeah, so that was the misunderstanding. That's kind of why the segment was somewhat abandoned unless a real queef comes along. Because it was supposed to be like or whatever, you know. The week, or they do those on various shows. What was the show that does the donkey of the day? Or
Donkey
whatever?
of the Day was Breakfast Club thing. Charlemagne did it.
What did it was that Art Olbermann. What did he do? He goes, worst human of the day or whatever. He had one of those too. Anyhow, so so let's finish Caitlin's email here. So as the subject would imply, long-time Roachy, first-time emailing, I almost emailed when the Bills beat the Chiefs. This was a few weeks ago, she said. That was so amazing, by the way, but now since you inspired me to choose Josh Allen as my fantasy quarterback, I had to write in after this week's game. Although they barely lost, sorry, this is the game that we played against the Rams, of course. He got me 51.88 fantasy points. This is a woman, by the way, who's just playing fantasy due to listening to this program. And she was so excited. I mean, Josh Allen was breaking records all season long. I mean, absolutely insane performance. So I had to email you. And as the kids would say, glaze him and riz him up. I don't understand. Oh, glaze him is like when they the person.
Giving him their shine.
I think this guy's so great, I'm going to on his face. Is that what they're saying by glaze?
Also that?
Is that, I mean, I think that's what it means. I know what riz means. I don't think any other QB will ever beat that. So epic and happy I get to brag about it. For this week, at least the Bills have a piece of my heart because of you. Hoping to be a better Roachy reporter, we all have to keep the local newscasters alive. Exactly. That's what we're doing here. We're feeding them. I mean, Jessica Riley was so psyched. I got more views on her clip than anyone ever saw that report. So, her efforts didn't go to waste. So, and I think we've got a couple in this, in today's news as well that I'm excited to get to. Thank you so much for making every Wednesday morning easy to get out of bed and turn into my favorite podcast. P.S. I'm actually from Boise, Idaho, born and raised. Not some imposter. I would love to take you to a Boise State game and show you the blue turf. I'd love to see that. Maybe we can actually see a duck crash into it thinking it's a pond. Isn't that what we learned? A bunch of ducks die on that Boise State field because they think it's a big body of water and they just... Maybe it's not just ducks. Maybe it's a whole bunch of birds.
It's like the new Viking Stadium. When they first built it, they were getting complaints because all of these like migrating birds kept flying into that like black, reflective glass.
Birds aren't they, dude? They just fly into your door, your window. Like, it's like, are you trying to go inside, bird? Stay outside, you stupid idiot. And they're like, you just hear it hit your window. Dumb birds. That's what they were doing that thing's like made of glass too, so they're just all flying into it. Idiots. I hate birds, dude. They're like, I think I was like, when I heard they were maybe robots, they were like, birds aren't real. There was that whole thing before COVID. It was like, we were so bored that we were like, we needed to make conspiracies up completely. We're like, birds aren't real. They're really just like drones or robots. Have you ever seen a baby seagull? They would say. Yeah, it's just the little ones. It looks like a regular seagull. It's just a smaller one. And they grow pretty quickly because they eat garbage. Yeah, I'd like to go to the Boise State game. Bummed I wasn't at the UNLV game where everyone went wild and ripped down the goalposts. Yeah, that was cool. They took it like, I remember there was a geo tracker that showed how far they took it. I believe it was like 1.3 miles. I'm not sure. You'd have a great time, and you also need to come do a show here. I would love to do a show in Boise, and I think that could be possible very soon. I'd be in the front row with bells on. Oh, and if you ever have any questions about Boise or BSU, feel free to reach out with any questions. Always happy to answer. I would love to know a statistic on how many birds die on the field every year. How many, is there a grounds crewman? I could pull a Theo Vaughn and have the grounds crewman on my podcast to talk about, every Wednesday I go out there and I mop up 16 bird corpses, something like that. What does that say up there?
It says there are no confirmed bird deaths.
Oh, that's a bunch
I don't
of
believe it. Yeah.
That's a bunch of horse hockey, if you ask me. That's nonsense. That's them trying to cover it up so they aren't like, hey, why don't you make it green like all the other fields? Boise State.
One article says 18,000 dead birds. So it's somewhere between none and 18,000.
They deserve to have that many. I mean, we need to control the population of these things. They're flying dinosaurs, for Christ's sake. Anywho, she says, cheers, Josh. Happy holidays. You and yours are the freaking best. Lovingly, Kaiten Eby. No, I knew how to pronounce that. She put the pronunciation after it. I understand if people f that up. And then she showed me the Josh Allen score. That's awesome. That's so funny. I love that people get into sports. And I have actually women tell me that all the time. Women who watch the show. Something's going on with my computer here. What the f? Get out of here, guy. What is this? Oh, my Lord. Hold on here. But thank you, Caitlin, for writing in. Again, JoshPotterShow@gmail.com is the place to do it. I don't even know what this thing is up here.
Some like Comedy Store ghosts playing on your computer.
Oh, my God. No, it was some hub thing. I must have touched it. Anyhow, golly. New year, new me. Getting used to it's been a minute since we've sat down together. Truly. I know I've put out the episodes and I didn't do a best of or anything like that. We gave you a unique, sort of episodes there, but I Haven't been in the room in a minute, since before Christmas time. And getting my bearings back again. Also, I've been distraught as of late. Because you see, I remember we talked about it on here back when I was at the studio, back at the Roach Motel at my own home. I believe it was like in April or something. But I talked about how one of my favorite bars, the Old Pink, burned down in the middle of the night, one night. Well, just a couple of days after New Year's, it would have been this past Saturday, the bar next door, Brick Bar, another one of my haunts, burned down. What the hell is going on? Now, there's a lot of speculation. Of course, there's Brick Bar on the, that's when it's all in all its beauty. I mean, this bar, so there's Brick Bar, right? Bring it back up, that thing that you had there. Go back to the picture you had there. I'm going to talk about it. So there's Brick Bar. See the cars to the right there? That's a parking lot. And then that building right there is the Old Pink. The building right next to it. This is an old picture, obviously, when both are intact. I parked in that parking lot so many times. I fingered so many girls in that parking lot. They were on board. Don't worry. It sounds worse than it is. Fingering in a parking lot sounds worse than it is. No, they were on board. So much stuff in that. I want to say, like, if you were to count up and do a stats on my sexual escapades, I would say a generous percentage happened in between that building, that parking lot, and that building. I mean, boy, oh boy. I also got my car like severely, because we used to park along that guardrail. See the guardrail there that's across? We used to park along that, and then those cars would park there. And, one day I come out, my car's got 19 dents in it. And no one cared. Everyone was just like backing into my car. And, fuck if I didn't do that too at some point, when I was parking in that lot. But boy, oh boy. So the Old Pink burned down, and now Brick Bar burned down. Go to the picture of it. I mean, it is haunting. The facade of it post burning down. I mean, look at that.
Yeah, the snow on the trees in the outside of the building also doesn't help. That's spooky.
Now, when the Old Pink burned down, they, within that day, demolished the building. Because it was a lesser structure made of wood, I do believe, and some brick. But they came with like a wrecking crew, took it all down. And when it came to this building, though, now the Historic Society is trying to, because that's a building from 1897, and they're trying to preserve it. So I don't know what, they could just have that facade there with nothing behind it. Who knows what's going to happen to the building, but they're trying to preserve it. There's nothing left of the inside. I mean, I was just there back in September. That was the last time I was there. And on my Instagram, I don't think I put the video up on my Instagram. Maybe I can email it to you, or I can Dropbox it to you real quick. But boy, oh boy, that bar, that would be the bar that we'd go to before we go to the Old Pink was like a bar you wouldn't go into until, 1 a.m. at the earliest. And the rest of the time we spent at Brick Bar. Today's Josh Potter Show is brought to us by Rocket Money. It's the start of the new year. How's that song go? Another year over, a new one just begun. And it's the perfect time to get organized and set goals and prioritize what matters most. For me, a top priority is my financial wellness, which feels more important than ever today. And thanks to Rocket Money, my goals feel achievable. They show me all my subscriptions in one place, and they help me easily cancel the ones that I forgot I've been paying for, which happens often, more than I'd like to admit. But evidently, it's happening to a lot of you out there, and maybe you don't even realize it. Rocket Money also pulls together all my spending across all my different accounts, so I can clearly track my spending habits and check and see where my money's going. And I can see where I can cut back as well. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Potter today. That's rocketmoney.com/Potter. rocketmoney.com/Potter. Anyhow, I was pulling up a text thread with my friend Matt Wayne. I thought I sent him the video, and we spent so many times there. Matt Wayne, of course, a comedian in New York. He works with Joe List all the time. I think Joe List I don't think Joe List did just put his special on his YouTube channel. You should go check it out. But we spent so much time in that bar. It was like we were the mayor of the city when we'd go into this place. The bouncer knew, typical things, all the people that work there. We'd have this little spot at the top of the bar, and we felt like kings. And one time, we went in there one night after doing mushrooms, and we went all over the city on mushrooms. Had the grandest time. So much fun. One of the best mushroom trips maybe ever. And we decided, hey, let's go to one more bar. And we picked Brick Bar. We're like, where better to go? And on this particular night, I was dating this girl, and she went out with her friends. I was out with my friends, and we're up in the bar. We're drinking. We find our other friend, Brian. Oh, now we're having a grand old time. And then Brian goes, hey, isn't that your girlfriend? And then I turn around, and my girlfriend comes out of the bathroom, seemingly super drunk, but then her knee just dislocates. And she goes to the ground like in utter pain. And what she did was she popped it back in. So when I went over there, I was like tripping on mushrooms, and everything looked good to me. And I'm like, is she just so drunk? Like, what is going on? And then the bouncer's like, you have to get her out of here. And I'm like, she says her legs dislocated. And they're like, it looks like it's not dislocated. Like, I don't know what to tell you. No, and she was I thought she was so drunk she couldn't articulate anything. She was just in such pain.
Yeah, you go into shock. Did she tear her ACL?
Dude, I don't even know what it officially was, but where the kneecap is would come out there, like Joe Theismann shit. And so evidently what happened was she was drinking a whole bunch, and her friends ditched her. Or just left, and she didn't know where they went or whatever. It's like a miracle that I went to Brick Bar of all the bars at that time, because otherwise she would have been in there, and who knows? They would have maybe called an ambulance at some point, but they were basically just like, this drunk girl needs to go. Do you know what I'm saying? And so I put her in her cab, and we got to my apartment, and as we were walking up, as I had her on me, and as we were going up to the steps, she just collapsed. And so I go, I'm calling an ambulance. And so I called an ambulance, and I'm thinking, she says her legs dislocated, but I don't know. And then they were looking at her leg, and they go, oh no, she fucked her leg up. Her leg is destroyed. And I'm like, I'm not a fucking doctor. I'm tripping on mushrooms. I don't know what's going on. I'm freaking out. It turned into the worst fucking night. And I felt so terrible for her. And then I'm like, now I have to go in to the hospital on mushrooms. I'm kind of freaking out about that too, selfishly. This is I'm in my 20s or whatever. And the lady who's the EMT, she goes, have you been drinking? I go, oh yeah. And she goes, well, you can't go in the ambulance. I go, will you tell her that? Because I was so relieved when the lady told me that. I go, can you explain that to, she's going to think I don't want to go in the ambulance. You told me that I couldn't go, right? Tell her that. And she was like, I'll tell her. And I'm I go, I'm so sorry. They won't let me go. They won't let me go in the ambulance. I had no desire to go in that ambulance. And then I'm just kind of in a trauma. Talk about a bad trip.
Yeah, fuck.
Holy hell. But yeah, Brick Bar, so many good memories too, obviously. Just makeouts and, oh my God. Such great times on that patio right there. I remember a girl, just to stop talking to another guy, she was so hot, just started making out with me. When does that happen? I go, how lucky am I to have been standing here in this moment? And her just to be like, she kind of knew me like through other people. I mean, Buffalo's just that small of a place where oftentimes you end up knowing everyone through everybody at some point, couple of degrees away. But boy, oh boy, I'm sure going to miss Brick Bar. And I know they were going, since COVID, they've been having hard times anyway. So I don't know. People are saying there's many conspiracies. People are saying, the typical Jew lightning thing, or, you got that, or like there's also the other thing that's been going around. The guy who burned, the Old Pink was an arsonist situation. And the guy that burned down the Old Pink got out the day that Brick Bar burned down. So people are saying he went back there and burned down Brick Bar too.
100%.
I mean, I don't know. That'd be crazy. This guy would be enemy number. I mean, people will put this man's, I mean, I can't, it's like the Old West. Like you'd have this man's picture in your home as like the guy, like, look for, this is the worst man on the planet. Not since Osama bin Laden will people of Buffalo unify against one person. You know what I'm saying? Is that Brick Bar right there? That's the other side. I haven't even seen that. That's wild, dude. That's a fucking bummer. I don't even know what those I mean, I guess that's like where they would keep shit, maybe.
Yeah, storage or like parking.
Because I can't tell from that like what was what on the inside, but it was a pretty deep bar. And then I remember like it used to get so busy that they'd have a back bar that would open up. And that was kind of like a secret. Like a lot of people would walk into the bar and see the big, long, regular bar and just kind of go there and you go, oh, it's so busy. Let's just go to the back bar. And then no one would know that the back bar was going on. So you'd get drink real quick. Anyhow, little hacks, things like that. Oh, boy, folks. But what do you say? RIP to Brick Bar. Let's get into a couple sports stories. There's not much on the sports docket today, but why not start off with it? Today's Josh Potter Show is brought to us by DraftKings. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs. Oh boy, I can't wait, dude. The Super Wild Card round is here. The Bills are going to be taking on the Denver Broncos, and you can get on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is the key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 and they're going to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. And looking at the touchdowns right now, oh my goodness, Josh Allen, -120 on an anytime touchdown to score the first one, plus 500. James Cook, who's been racking them up, tied O.J. Simpson's record for the Buffalo Bills in single season touchdowns. He's -130 anytime touchdown scorer, and his first time touchdown score is plus 475. Crazy stuff up at DraftKings. Go check it out. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code JoshPotter. That's code JoshPotter, one word, for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you just bet $5. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Beep 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 beep.
Now, something that we're going to keep our ear to the ground about is what is happening with this Fox Sports lawsuit. Oh my goodness. Skip Bayless is embroiled in it. Emmanuel Acho, who, by the way, is a scumbag and a loser. I can't stand Emmanuel Acho. His takes, I mean, he is such a phony, and he's bad at his job. And he's blocked me on Twitter because I've expressed these views. Can you believe that? And he's embroiled, and it turns out I was right. He is a scumbag. We'll go. Lo and behold, allegedly, according to this lawsuit, and Joy Taylor is involved with it. Let me give you the skinny on it. I can go do this off the dome, because I'm not even going to really get in depth in it today, because more is coming out like within every second that passes. So Joy Taylor, she used to be the host of Undisputed with Shannon and Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, of course. Well, evidently, according to a hairdresser. Now, this hairdresser, by the way, is the one who's banding about these accusations. And to the sound of it, this hairdresser was like, according to her statements, the fucking juice of all of Fox. I mean, how did she knew all the players, she knew all the people integral in how it operates. She's going to dinners and drinks with them. I mean, this is crazy how she's, So first of all, Skip Bayless goes to this hairdresser. I'll give you $1.5 million if you let me clap those cheeks. And he didn't use those words because he's Skip Bayless. And boy, and this is again, everything, let me say it off the bat, allegedly, according to this lady. So she declines, which is nuts. I mean, $1.5 million for one.
Yeah, that's insane.
One cheek clap that's nuts. I mean, I would love to be offered something like that. For one time, I would fuck an animal. I don't even know what I would fuck something for $1.5 million. I'll tell you that. I think the only thing I wouldn't fuck is a child. How about that? I'll put that out there. But, everything else is on the table. You want me to fuck a pizza for I will, whatever it takes. I mean, that's crazy. That's the difference between men and women, obviously. This lady's like, I'm not going to fuck old Skip Bayless. And I mean, why would you? Other than for the story and to get $1.5 million. I'd be like, Venmo me right now.
Yeah.
And I get to fuck weird Skip Bayless and just have that story. Anyway, she didn't want to do it. So that's in the lawsuit. And then this lady says that she became friends with Joy Taylor, the old host of Undisputed. And Joy Taylor, before Undisputed even existed, she was, getting drinks at Santa Monica with her. And then this guy would show up every time they went out for drinks. This older gentleman. And then he'd always buy the drinks. And she was like, oh, is something going on with this old guy? But she said that in a suspicious way because Joy Taylor married. So she's like, this is a little sus. She's flirting with this guy. Who is this guy? Soon, this lady, this hairdresser, runs into this guy in the office, in an elevator, and goes, you're the guy. She goes, what are you doing here? He goes, I work here. It's the executive of the network, Charles Dixon. And so, Charles Dixon married also, by the way. Shocker. And so this goes on for a little while, and Joy Taylor's like, hey, hush up, all right? Chill out. Evidently, they were sleeping with each other, and then because of this sexual escapade, it's what allegedly, according to the hairdresser, what got Joy Taylor her job on Undisputed. Because she was just like a radio host in Miami. She was doing some local television, like often the women that we cover here on this thing. And then all of a sudden, she's the host of a very prominent show on Fox Sports Network. And so people were like, And Skip Bayless evidently was like against it. But then Charles Dixon's like, will you do this for me? As a personal favor? And this is me. This wasn't in the report, but this is me just imagining and pontificating on it. I bet Charles Dixon was like, you know how you want to fuck that hairdresser? Well, I want to fuck her. So it's like kind of like, you get what I'm doing, right? You were going to give her a 1.5. I mean, I'm not even going to pay her that much money. And it's not my money, it's the network's. So anyhow, we're keeping our ear to the ground on what's going. That's the things that have been levied, the accusations that have been levied against Fox Sports Network, Charles Dixon, and Skip Bayless, all named in this sexual harassment lawsuit. But anyhow, let's get into something else real quick here. Now, this one is an interesting story because I'm really stretching when I say sports. Now, I know a lot of sports are going on. We have hockey, we have basketball, we have The NFL playoffs just beginning. The Bills taking on the Broncos in the wild card round Sunday at 1 p.m. It feels just like a 19th regular season game to me. I don't even. That's what happens. The decay and erosion that occurs on a team when they are successful. If you were talking wild card playoff game 5 years ago, I would be thinking of nothing else. It would be the top of my. I can't believe the Bills are in the playoffs. All of a sudden, I'm getting like, all right, we got to get past the wild. I know that the wild card is important, but it's not the same kind of excitement. It's like something I want to get beyond already. And before that, I was like, hey, man, we're in the fucking playoffs, dude. This is fucking great. But so, yeah, nothing really wild other than that Fox Sports story that I told you about going on at the moment. So, again, we'll keep our ear to the ground about that. But I'm stretching a little bit. Evidently, there's a whole, and I kind of want to start gambling on this. There's these 4-H contests at fairs, at, I don't know, just maybe they have them in small towns or something like that, but they show animals, and then the animal, it's like Babe. It's like, or is that Babe? No, Charlotte's Web. Remember Charlotte's Web?
Yeah.
The pig gets the ribbon, the blue ribbon or whatever, the runt pig becomes like a beauty queen or what have you. All because the spider is writing in the web. They don't give the spider any awards. They're just giving, they're like, the pig do that? I don't even remember. It's been a while. Why did they attribute the spider web to the pig? Or was it just some sort of statement on advertising? Because she would write like swell pig in there. What would she write in there? Can you see? Can you pull up a tab of what the hell did Charlotte write in her damn web? This pig's top notch or something. I forget what the hell she wrote.
Some pig, terrific, radiant, humble.
Some pig. I say that about a few of them. I go, that's
because weren't they were gonna kill it and Charlotte.
Well,
saved
it was a
right?
runt pig, and then the little girl, I do believe, was like, "No, Daddy, don't." And they're like, "Oh my god!" So they kept it as a pet. And then I think I don't fucking remember. You're making me remember Charlotte's Web, dude. Anyhow, some pig. I used to say that about some girls I run into. But that's supposed to be a compliment. I used to say that to my girlfriend. I'd be like, "You're some pig." And I'd say that like endearingly because of Charlotte's Web. It was a nice little cute thing that we would do. Don't take it for what I know you're thinking. But yeah, there you go. That's the live action Charlotte's Web, or is this some AI horse shit?
Yeah, it's the live action Charlotte's Web.
I never seen the live action one. I only saw the cartoon.
I remember it slapping when I was a kid.
And then who's the gay ass actor that played? He was the man. Templeton, the rat. Remember that? He was like, it was the guy who was always in like the center square of Hollywood Squares. What the fuck was his name? He was like, oh God.
It was Steve Buscemi?
No, it wasn't.
Steve
That's
Buscemi
the live
was
action.
Templeton the rat.
That's the live action. There's no way he was in the animated one. Yeah, they didn't have Reba McEntire in the animated. No, it was fucking that gay dude.
Paul Lynde?
Paul Lynde. Yes, Paul Lynde, super gay. He would say it too. He'd be like, oh, God. That's how he'd talk. Oh, God. Pull up a Paul Lynde on Hollywood. Can we even watch that? That'd be fun, though. See if it gets us ripped off. I don't even give a shit, YouTube. You don't know who Paul Lynde is? Come on. Here we go. It's the Hollywood Squares. Don't play the theme song. Just go to some Paul Lynde action.
Paul Lynde, please.
Here we
Say,
go.
Paul, when is it a good idea to put your pantyhose in the microwave oven for about 2 minutes?
When your house is surrounded by the police.
Yeah, he was the man. All right. I don't want to get his take
about his voice. Though.
No, he talks like this all the time. Amazing. It's like, oh, put it in the oven. I don't even know. I'm just talking. I don't even know words to say. I'm not a good writer. I can just do the voice. So yeah, they have these. I want to start betting on them. These 4-H things, you know. And I'll go in there. I'll go, that's some pig. I'm going to put. What are the odds on that? And they'll be like plus 400, and I'll be like, that's my pig right there. But this one's all about goat showing. They do this with goats. They do it with all of the livestock, I'm sure. You know. And Idiot Man Wyatt sent this thing in here. Thank you, Idiot Man Wyatt. There it is.
Idiot Man.
Texas teen charged with animal cruelty after force-feeding poison to another student's pet goat. And it wasn't a pet goat. This goat was this is like, I mean, I guess they're pets. But I mean, I don't know what you want to call them. I mean, this is like Jerry Jones.
It's livestock, right?
Yeah, this is like Jerry Jones going to Pittsburgh and poisoning George Pickens or something. You know what I mean? This is like, so according to this, and this is such a farmer girl name, Aubrey Van Landingham, a popular 17-year-old cheerleader and president of her Future Farmers of America Club at Vista Ridge High School in Cedar Park, Texas, is facing charges for allegedly poisoning a rival student's goat. Prosecutors claim she injected the goat, Willie, with pesticide over a 3-day period, causing the animal's death, which is insane how a girl would be like, I'm going to acquire pesticide. But also, what we haven't gotten to yet is these goats, the goat that she's holding here, and then the rival goat. This other goat was winning all the prizes. So she was like, I got to get rid of this thing. This is a Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan goat situation here. And instead of hiring Galooly or whatever the hell Tanya Harding did, this lady, she went on the internet, started typing, oh boy, how do I kill a goat with poison? I wonder what she Googled. It'll talk about that in a second. It says here, prosecutors claim she injected the goat, as I mentioned. Van Landingham, I love that name, who had been active in animal shows with her own pet goat, reportedly told authorities she didn't like cheaters after initially denying the crime. If convicted, she could face up to 2 years in prison. Now, I wonder if she said, I don't like cheaters because she thought the other goat was cheating, or if she thought, like, why would I do that? I'm not a cheater. I wouldn't kill an animal, as if that was the main crux of the crime, that she would be cheating to eliminate the goat away from competition. Van Landingham allegedly Googled how to clear her disturbing search history. Oh, you can't Google how to... That's kind of... It's folding in. You know what I'm saying? You can't Google how to clear search history. That's something you got to learn off the street or from someone else, because then they find that in the search history. How to clear search history. Tough stuff. So she Googled that after also looking up how much bleach kills a goat, and if goats inject bleach, do they die?
Jesus.
And poisoning pets, what you should know. Who's writing that little Etsy blog out there or whatever, little fucking, I guess Substack would have been a better joke, Josh. But officers are also recovering sickening video of Willie running away from her and convulsing after she poisoned him before sending the footage to the mother of his owner. So why did they have footage? I guess this guy, I bet it's on a farm, and farms probably are not what we, you know, as a person who doesn't live on one or isn't around one very often, I'd imagine there's some ring cams on farms these days because, you know, there's people fucking the animals, probably trying to steal the animals. There's coyotes. I mean, you got to keep an eye on the farm, you know? And I'm sure that they have cameras now and ring footage and all that stuff. Video of footage obtained by police reportedly shows her forcing the syringe-like item into the goat's mouth on October 23rd. The goat then attempted to break free before the teenager used the syringe on the animal twice more. She checked on Willie twice in a 2-hour period, checking on his condition before calling her schoolmate's mother to say Willie was convulsing and acting funny. Willie's here. He came over and he's acting. Why does she have the goat? You know, that's wild that she was like, I'm going to also report the crime. They can't catch me if I reported it. I'm the one who called. Willie died 21 hours after being poisoned by the teenager, and the vet initially was unable to figure out what was wrong with the goat. The mother of the 15-year-old girl who owned the goat told thedailymail.com her family wanted justice for her daughter and her goat and are calling for a judge to give Van Landingham jail time. Speaking on the condition of anonymity, she said, I mean, Jesus, what's the anonymity? She's the mother of Willie, the prize-winning goat. I mean, I could just figure out Willie, Texas, whatever. I mean, we're not going to do the research now, but I think I could figure out the identity of this lady, and I'm a fucking retard. You know what I'm saying? Anyhow, we were there when he passed away. My daughter was actually holding him, so that was very traumatic. She admitted to poisoning him multiple times over several days, so it's pretty rough situation. We don't believe there is any remorse there. We hope that she has to serve jail time and she gets some kind of mental help. It's all very bizarre. We want justice served. We don't want a slap on the wrist. So they're saying that she needs mental help, but also put her in a cage. I mean, which is it? At this point, we don't feel like she thinks she's going to be punished, and she needs to be. She needs to take ownership for what she's done. I want to get to the part about the sports, about the. Oh, I see. She's saying it's because of cheating. So she was saying that Willie was a cheating goat. She doesn't like cheaters. They must die a cheater's death. But from what we've deciphered, she was just really jealous, said Willie's owner's mother. She added, you can't even cheat when it comes to showing goats. It makes no sense. So that's where the jealousy really kind of falls into place. Could you not cheat? I don't even really know what they judge goats on necessarily. They're like, ooh, look at that one's goatee hair. Well, that's good stuff.
It's like color and like how shapely and like how they walk and stuff. It's really like,
color.
odd. Yeah,
that's
like,
fucked up,
man,
dude.
it's fucked up.
Racist. That one's a little dirty looking. What does that mean? Darker? That's fucked up. Boy, what else do you say? Their bone structure?
Yeah,
Shit.
no, literally, it's like how like they're shaped because it's like all farming competition and like like the prize goats are usually the ones that get like their jizz sold to like breed.
But for what? They all have fur or whatever. You just shave them and then you got a sweater. Isn't that what a goat does? Or it's milk or whatever?
Yeah, milk and I think like there's a lot of like other agricultural.
Oh, that hot looking goat guy's better milk? Is that what? I mean, what the fuck are we talking about?
What, like, all animal judges are
Chicks
doing.
complain about the pageant system out there. They're like, they treat us like cattle. It's like, it could literally be like cattle where they're coming up to you and checking your jawbone or what have you. That'd be hilarious if they do now it's the jawbone round and they just like have them in a bathing suit and they're like checking their fucking, looking at their eyes and shit. They weren't friends and my daughter is a lot younger, so they didn't really interact at all. So that's what's even more bizarre. So this Van Landingham girl is stewing over this other goat. It is like, I need, again, Nancy Kerrigan and Tanya Harding situation. Only she didn't just take out the goat's leg. She fucking poisoned it. She went too far. Too far, if you ask me, folks. Yeah, what a hot take. I don't think she should have poisoned that goat, frankly, come to say. But why don't we get into some news stories, shall we? Now, I got an email here from Bridget, and this is something that I kind of wish I started the show with, but we had a lot of housekeeping to take care of. I had to mention Brick Bar. I thought, let's talk about these goats. But I really should have started. This is breaking stuff here. This is great stuff coming in from Bridget. Again, JoshPotterShow@gmail.com is the email. It says, first time Roach reporter here. On your Christmas episode with Chase O'Donnell, you played a clip of a Phoenix news anchor named Stephanie Hockridge. Now, do we have, what video was that? I don't remember, but do we have?
It was the one with the mute boy rapper.
Oh,
and
that's
she was the one who
right.
introed that clip, yeah.
Yes, it's even, if I would have just finished reading the fucking sentence, it says, who was helping report about a mute kid who wanted to be a rapper. That news anchor was actually arrested alongside her husband in 2024 for committing PPP fraud. Oh my God, that PPP business, you remember that from COVID times? It was supposed to be for small businesses to stay afloat. Meanwhile, every athlete and celebrity and pretty much every scoundrel and scam artist on the planet received PPP loans, and for reasons that were not great, not beneficial to anything other than, I think they bought cars. Some of them went on elaborate vacations.
Brett Favre, right? Wasn't that his scandal?
I don't know if that was his PPPs. I think his was just another funding thing for some park or what have you, but I could be wrong. It could be Tom Brady had a PPP thing, but also he had a thing with that. And he gets off scot-free on all his shit. What was that thing, the Sam Bankman-Fried business with the crypto? Yeah. He had something with that. Poor Hawk Tua, by the way. She's going to jail, I think. She's going to be Hawk Tua. Remember Jared was getting the foot long? Hawk Tua was going to be Hawk Tuaing on some pussies in jail. Anyhow, Stephanie Hockridge committing PPP fraud. They also stole millions of dollars, then moved to Puerto Rico. Yeah, she was like, I'm getting off the air here in Phoenix, Arizona. They now face up to 20 years in prison. I attached the link for you in case you want to read. So here, former ABC 15 anchor Stephanie Hockridge and her husband plead not guilty. Did they do a report on Stephanie Hawkridge?
Yeah.
Oh, what sweet. I mean, is this her old station? Now, I wonder. Now, here's something I have to wonder before we play it. Are they going to reference that she used to work there? Because that is either you could look at it on something that is like besmirching. Maybe they didn't even report it. Is that even her station? Do we know? ABC 15?
It's there's another.
Oh, you know the competitors are out there going like, we have to.
We have the one from Fox in Phoenix as well, but it doesn't look like the ABC 15 one has a story on it publicly.
And former ABC 15 anchor Stephanie Hawkridge. That's what you get with ABC 15. Bunch of crooks over there at ABC 15. Would you trust your news with ABC 15? They employed crooks. That'd be like a... They make like commercials for local news like it's political ads. Okay, so this is something from Fox.
Federal charges from an alleged pandemic scheme. A Phoenix couple, including a former TV news anchor, is arrested in Puerto Rico, accused of pocketing tens of millions of dollars illegally. Nicole Christine joins us with the details tonight.
She's
Nicole.
grinning ear to ear.
Well, Brian, Stephanie Hawkridge, a former anchor at ABC 15.
Yeah, get that dig in there. By the way, what's up, Nicole?
Are accused of submitting false and fraudulent Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP loans. The couple took out loans for themselves and then
Can you
showed
pause it
others.
for a second? First of all, what's up, Nicole? Second of all, they got like her headshot or whatever over there. And then her husband's just got like, what's that, a selfie? This guy looks like he opened his phone and accidentally took a fucking picture of himself.
Still from body cam footage.
Yeah, that's wild. I mean, that's always a funny thing. Let's just grab this horse shit. That's the only thing I could find. It's just like his profile picture on Facebook or whatever. All right, let's see if there's anything fun in this.
How easy it
Or we can
was
just
to
listen
get
Nicole
taxpayer
talk.
cash. A scheme worth hundreds of millions of dollars set against the backdrop of global pandemic relief.
Criminals and criminal organizations took advantage of Americans suffering during this crisis and committed substantial fraud against these critical pandemic relief programs.
Among the alleged criminals, a former Valley television anchor, Stephanie Hawkridge, and her husband, Nathan Reese. During a federal hearing, numbers reaching into 10 figures are discussed.
I think it was 57,000 applications
Oh
in
my God.
PPP where individual were for
Can you
applicants
pause
who are
it
on
for
the
a
do
second?
not.
I wish I had even, I guess I don't wish I had this, but I would never even think to try and scam the PPP thing when it was going on.
Yeah.
Never in my life would I think that it could be scammed. That's how fucking, everything could be gamed or scammed. And there's people who, when something is rolled out, they just go immediately to that. And then I go like, when it happens, I go, well, yeah, of course everyone's scammed that. That makes sense. But here I am. Never even would have occurred to me that it was something that like you could take advantage of. All right, go ahead.
Pay list involving several billions of dollars.
And how much fraud are we talking about just in those loans?
$3.6 billion.
Hawkridge and Reese are accused of attempting to directly charge some applicants a 10% fee for successfully getting a loan, a violation of the Small Business Administration rules. A review of the loans showed what the couple was willing to do for the money, including Reese claiming in an application he was African American and a veteran.
Yo, pause it. That's amazing. I mean, that's how easy it was to get a PPP scam. First of all, I was like kind of zoning out because Stephanie Hawkridge is a fucking babe. I mean, golly, I was like sitting there for a second being like, she could just have my money. But then when they said what Mr. Hawkridge did, that's so, I mean, if I'm her, I'm like, you put that you were black on there? So I don't think they were going to check. And now not only, because like, here's the thing. This is one of those crimes where you can kind of say, well, like, who gives a shit kind of? Because it's like, oh, they stole money from the government, like, whatever. It's not like they stole it from like regular people. I guess like you could glean that this money could have gone to give it to the but who at the end of the day, the government was giving out money, and I don't really like, but to be like, do stolen valor to get it, that is something people are going to be like, no, now we're not on your side any longer. All right, play the rest of it. That's
$1 million of free money. And although the PPP loans were set up for small businesses, Hockridge told her staff, quote, "Who the F cares? We're not the first bank to decline borrowers who deserve to be funded. They can go elsewhere."
Let's go.
Reese and Hockridge also requested direct payments from PPP borrowers, ultimately scamming them out of
Oh my God. So they did take this from an Instagram post. Because pause it. That was where the still was from. Of his face. They took it from an Instagram post where he's at, like, it looks to be a casino of some kind, and he's got a wad of hundreds of, maybe thousands of dollars, and he's all like, "What's what a bad look on your Instagram, pal." Go ahead.
Out in a 90-second video, now at the center of an alleged federal deception.
The fuck is this?
The duo took their stolen millions to set up a lavish lifestyle in Puerto Rico, where her husband was taken into custody.
Man, Instagram
by federal
doing
authorities.
them dirty. That guy looks like a knob.
Now, both Hockridge and Reese are charged with one count of conspiracy.
I gotta give a shout out to, I forget her last name, but Nicole here. She's using their Instagram against them. That's a new tactic that I haven't seen in local news, not in my day. Oh my goodness, that was electric to be like, they used it to have, and then it shows them on Instagram doing their like, look where we are kind of shit. That was awesome. I dug that a lot. Nicole, you're a babe and you're smart. I like it. But yes, thank you for sending that in, Bridget. JoshPotterShow at gmail.com is where she sent that bad boy in. Oh, I don't know if this has a video, but I got this one sent in from T-Bone. It says, a rapper nearly shoots himself in the leg in a shocking blunder. Oh, yeah. No, it's on a YouTube interview. Yep. Isn't it? Can we play it? Or is it going to get us? I mean, I guess it was on YouTube, right? So, oh boy. Okay, so by the way,
and choices we got in life, those were your choices. Who shot who?
Pause it.
Somebody got shot?
So yeah, also, like, did anyone in it looks like a cowboy thing. It was like the Mos Eisley Cantina. This guy's reaching in his pocket for those listening at home, and he's like playing around, and then he just like shoots the gun through his pocket. Now, I'm sure he got himself in the leg. Maybe it was just a flesh wound. I've been watching a lot of Westerns, and that's what they say. Just a flesh wound. Just broke the skin. Then they just like continue with their lives somehow. I would be like, oh my God, I'm going to die. Anyhow, he shot himself. But there's people. If I did that right now, Alex is dead. Alex would be like, because I would shoot it off. There's got to be people across the way. And then this fucking old guy over here, can I call him Unk? That's what the kids would call him. He's over here like, who shot who? He doesn't know because he just saw the hole in his pants and he's writhing in pain. He thinks he got shot. But those people are like, what the fuck? Like,
that's the funniest way to respond to a shooting that happens right in front of you, though, is who shot who.
Who shot who? He didn't even flinch about a gunshot going off. He's like,
nothing.
Wait a minute, who shot who? Now he's all of a sudden Scooby-Doo. He's trying to figure out. All right, play it, the rest of it. Let's see what they get.
Oh, you good, Lo?
I hope. I don't know if he's bleeding or what, but wild. And that harkens back to a story of Plaxico Burress. And I think Plaxico Burress was on the New York Giants when they won their first Super Bowl there in like 2009, or maybe even it was a couple of years earlier than that. Find out what years the Giants won the Super Bowl recently with Eli Manning. It was 2009, and I want to say 2007. Am I crazy?
08 and 2012.
08 and 12. So I think he was on the 08 one. And he was at a nightclub one night wearing sweatpants, just like that guy was. And he had a gun in the waistband of the sweatpants. That's insane. I don't even trust my cigarettes in the waistband of sweatpants when I go outside to smoke. I would never put anything of value in the waistband of my sweatpants because it will fall, let alone a firearm. So evidently these sweatpants didn't have pockets. It might have even been, I think it was, Google it for me, but I'm pretty sure it was the waistband, not the pocket of the sweatpants. That's a very different thing. But here's the thing, the pocket's even crazy because you guys have sweatpants. Shit be I wouldn't even put this vape in those things without it falling out, let alone a gun. Are you kidding me? And he was digging around for it in the nightclub or like readjusting it or something. And just like that, it goes off, shoots himself in the leg. And I'll tell you what, as a wide receiver in the NFL, your leg's pretty important, I would say. So he, never really was the same. After that, I think he went to the Steelers maybe. After that, at one point, I don't know, but he never quite got back on top again. And it's interesting because there's a receiver on the 49ers right now who literally started the season by getting shot. It wasn't in his leg, but his Rolex was getting robbed. Ricky Pearsall, rookie receiver, he was getting robbed for his Rolex, and the guy shot him. I think it was like in his arm or whatever. He's already playing, and he's the leading receiver on the 49ers this year. Pretty crazy, the difference, what 20 years could possibly... I don't know. I'm not saying medical technology was the difference in that whatsoever. But nevertheless, we have another T-Bone, by the way, a new T-Bone on the Josh Potter Show reporting trail. We have T-Bone, right? The OG, Roachy award-winning reporter. Now we have T-Bone 2. That's the way he put it in the email. His name is the same as T-Bone 1. And they both go by T-Bone. I thought that was crazy. I don't know if we've ever discussed T-Bone's name either. So it's not like he knows what T-Bone's real name is. And this guy's... So it's crazy that he called himself T-Bone 2. Just putting that out there. But he sent this email and it says, 2 and bright and shining stars from my hometown area stuck up a bank with not a gun, but a note. They successfully got away for 2 days and walked out with a whopping $330-some. I think he even wore his robbing fit when picking up his mask from the Meijer store the day before. Now, Meijer is like a Walmart, right?
Yeah, it's like a Michigan, like...
I'm saying that right, Meijer?
Yeah, Meijer.
All right, so it's brothers they're facing life in prison for the robbery?
I think a bank robbery is a federal crime. Yeah, I think the punishment for that is pretty severe.
I know a guy. Now, this is crazy. See, I'm going to make you do some crazy Googling here. I don't even know what this guy's name was. I couldn't remember for the life of me. But there was this guy. He was so bad at comedy. And like in the early days of comedy, you have to run with these people. You have to see them all the time because you're, probably just as bad, but also like you're trying to move forward in this whole thing. So this guy used to go to every open mic. I remember he would get like guest sets at this club that I would MC at. And one time he got banned from this club because he went on stage on acid and he just bombed his face off. And it's like, he thought every set was like it was one of those guys that was like, let's party. And I love to party, but I know the difference of like, hey, I got to like do well here. I'm not taking acid before my fucking set at a club. So he got banned or whatever. That was the last time I'd ever seen him. Then a couple of years go by. Haven't heard this name in a minute. All of a sudden, people in the comedy community spreading around this article. This guy robbed 4 banks. And they finally caught him. Like he's some criminal mastermind or something, or like a Batman villain. He robbed multiple banks before they gave a shit enough to catch him. So I don't think it's that crazy. And I think he like only got 8 years or something like that. And I feel like he stole way more money than $330. Now I'm gray on all the details there, obviously. And there's nothing you could ever Google to find this story.
Where
it was in Rochester, New York. Exactly. I didn't even give you the, but I can't remember the fucking guy's name. We'll figure that out down the road. I'll text some friends and see if I can recall that story. But let's get to this one here. Brothers face life in prison for Sandlake bank robbery. Maybe they tell us why life in prison. Maybe there was something on that note that will tell us. 2 Mecosta County brothers are facing felony charges after officials say they robbed a Sandlake bank earlier this week. Christopher Moore, 25, and Nicholas Moore, 19, are charged with bank robbery and conspiracy to commit bank robbery. Now, my point is, before I get to this story, bank robbery used to be a thing that, in all the movies and all the old Westerns, I said I've been watching a lot of Westerns. To rob a bank, you would be like savvy guys or whatever, savvy criminals. Now it's just dunces who still rob. You know what I'm saying? It's like the low level. Like, I bet if you talk to a real criminal who was like smart and you were like, what do you think about bank robbers? They're like, they're retarded. Like, they are the scum of, like, the fucking... They're the open micers of criminals, basically, at this point. An unarmed robbery occurred December 30th at Independent Bank at Sand Lake. Officials say a man who they identified as Christopher Moore walked up to the bank teller, handed them a note and stated, "This is a robbery, no tracers, no die packs." All right. Like, they're going to do that. I mean, I always wondered that about bank robberies. When you go, "Don't you dare give me a tracer." How are you going to know? They're like, the tracers are nothing now. How do you know the difference? You just trust this guy on his word? Or "I'll come back and I'll kill you"? Like, I'm putting a tracer in there every fucking time. Maybe not the die pack. The bank teller then gave him all the cash and register, which officials say was $335. Witnesses in surveillance video gave authorities a description of what they said Moore was wearing. They didn't even I would just go in there with, I mean, I'm not saying I would do this, but I'm saying they could have just robbed all the people in the bank and probably gotten more than $335. Authorities were able to connect the brothers to the crime after the subject, who they determined to be Christopher Moore, was seen wearing the same clothing as as one of the suspects at the Meijer in Cedar Springs prior to the robbery. That's tough business. Yeah, you got to there's cameras everywhere now. That's the thing. That's why they would probably say that bank robbery is a fruitless endeavor when it comes to crime. The subject was then seen at Meijer with another man who authorities identified as Nicholas Moore. Comparing photos from the Secretary of State and social media with the brothers gave the authorities a positive connection to the robbery suspect, who they say is Christopher, and the man with him at Meijer, who they say is Nicholas. In an interview with detectives, Nicholas admitted he and Christopher were the ones who robbed the bank, and that the robbery was planned for weeks because they needed the money. God, that's sad. We really needed the money, and they get $300. We just robbed a bank for $335, dude. That's pathetic, isn't it?
That sucks.
I mean, that sucks. I would be just depressed. I would be like, God damn it, dude. We just did all that for $335 fucking dollars. I didn't even say that at this point. We just went with it because I'm in debt. He needed to pay his house payment, and I have a kid on the way. So you got cool $150 or $15 there? That's going to be all the answer to your woes? He revealed, that's like a 19-year-old kind of thinking, though. I remember when my rent was, I mean, granted, this is a decade ago, but my rent used to be $300, and I used to struggle to pay it. According to officials, Nicholas said that they chose the bank because it was always clear. Every time we go up there, it's just clear. It's kind of like a small town, easy way to escape. On the day of the robbery, officials say Nicholas picked up Christopher in his Chevrolet Tahoe. They're going to make a movie about this someday. $335, they call it. God damn, that's sad. Nicholas picked up Christopher in his Chevy Tahoe, and the pair took back roads until getting off somewhere near the Sand Lake exit. Nicholas told officials that he and Christopher went to the Meijer in Cedar Springs because they needed COVID masks and duct tape, and Christopher could wrap his hands with gloves so no one could identify his tattoos. Also, the COVID mask. That's what I remember going into banks during the pandemic, and I wasn't a mask guy because of the fogging. I would wear a bandana, so I did look like I would walk in there. I go, this is like what people would wear to rob a bank. And I'm going up there, I'm like, give me all my money. According to documents, Nicholas then dropped Christopher off down the road from the bank and picked him up in the area. Documents also say the brothers split the money, that's sad, and that the clothing worn by Christopher during the robbery was then disposed of. That's tough that he had to wear it. He was wearing it beforehand. Officials said that while talking to Christopher, he admitted that he was the one who robbed the bank, knew it was a mistake, and that he was the mastermind. I was the brains behind all this. Don't brag about that. He also said he did not want his younger brother to be in too much trouble. While the robbery was planned for weeks, officials say Christopher was planning to rob the bank for years, because that's what all criminals do. Oh my God, that's sad. He wanted to be a criminal so bad. You want to be a criminal? 335. That's what all criminals do. Imagine for years, you're like, I'm going to rob this bank, get the hell out of here. And you get $335. The judge denied bond for Christopher Moore, saying these are incredibly serious charges. The fact that they got away with $335, I'd just be like, that's sad, and you can go. You can go. I would be like, someone give this guy $300. An attorney for Nicholas Moore said his parents gave their son their full support in court on Thursday, and Nicholas said his fiancée is 5 months pregnant. The judge said she struggled to set Nicholas's bond. I bet I could raise more than $335 for these fucking guys. These are such serious charges. Bank robbery is so serious, she said. But you're okay. But in reading this and getting a feel for it, I get the sense that it's a bit more of a complicated story. Yeah, it's just two sad guys who are like, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll rob a bank. And then they got $335. They're like, yeehaw! They got by the way, they're going to need to rob about 100,000 more banks so that they can pay their bond, because she granted him a $500,000 bond, 10% cash or surety. Both charges to the brothers carry life in prison if convicted. The brothers will be back in court later. We got to keep our eyes on the brothers here. What are they called? What are the brothers? The Moore brothers. Oh, you ever hear the story about the Moore brothers? Yee-hoo! They robbed the bank in Cedar Springs. They got $335. That wasn't, if you robbed a bank in the Old West and got $335, they would be that's still nothing. No, that wouldn't even be a big get then.
Oh, yeah, no, it would be a bad one.
I've been doing a lot of because I watched this Wyatt Earp business on Netflix. So I've been doing a lot of what is $6,000 in 1882 versus $6,000 today? And it is $100,000 or something like that. So can you verify that for me? Do it for me right now. I want to say it's maybe $300,000 is $6,000, because that's what Wyatt Earp was going to give to Ike Clancy or whatever the hell his name is to rat out the stagecoach robbers. I'll give you $6,000, Ike. I ain't ratting him out, but then he did rat him out, and then he was paranoid. I mean, we don't have to watch a video to find out what it is. Just can't you? Didn't AI tell you what the hell it was at the top?
$6,000 in 1880 is $180,000 now.
All right, I was close. My first one, $100,000, the first guess I had. Oh boy, golly, Let's do $300. Do $335. I want to see what that is in 1882.
So 335 in 1880.
No. Do it. Do it in 1882 terms. Yeah. No, you did. Well, yeah, that's going to be back. That's $10.83. But go the other way around. I want to see what they. If you told someone in 1880 that you robbed a bank for $335, let's see how much value that has. That'll be a good way to.
$10,000.
$10,000. See, even that, they'd be like, you only got $10,000 robbing the bank? You could have ratted out the stagecoach robbers, and JP Morgan would have gave you more. Oh, well. Thank you to all the Roach reporters. We got 2 T-Bones now. We got T-Bone and T-Bone 2. I don't know if maybe there's going to be a partnership, or is there a rivalry brewing? Don't do anything that goat lady did. Thank you to Bridget. Thank you to everybody who sent things in. We got a whole bunch for next week, too, already. Because I couldn't even get to all of them. So much fun. Who sent in the goat thing? That was, Idiot Man Wyatt. Thank you for sending that in. Anyhow, rate, review, like the thing. I don't know what I was looking for on there. But I hope that you, leave your comments, do all that kind of stuff. Spread the word, would ya? And we'll have Saul Trujillo next week here in studio. JoshPotterShow@gmail.com. That's what I should have told you about. That's where you can send in all the Roach reportings. Send in your emails the way that Emmeline and Caitlin did. Other than that, thanks for being here in 2025. I really appreciate you. Thanks to Alex. Thanks to Bobby. Thanks to Lee. Thanks to Brian. We'll talk to you later.
Coming to you live and direct with the Roach. We shotgun the beers, ain't got time for a toast. It's the only place I get my sports like for real, son. He taught us nobody's more sus than Russell Wilson.
Here's the deal, son. Won't find us in Walmart. Josh Potter, keep it frank, kinda like a ballpark. It wasn't nothing talking all that jism. Turns out there's a lot of semen terrorism.
Now it's time we hit him. Bringing Votto to the plate. Roachy, your warrants with Chase O'Donnell the Great. Let me stop for a second, cause it's Ask Marty time. Cause it's idiocy, you know I cannot abide.
Not a fan of these guys, gonna damage the rise. Worse than the host known as the Roach. Leave an idiot woman standing on the side, or looking like she just tripped into a a moat.
I'ma kill this Henny beat like murder. Been in more studios than most have ever heard of. Pleased to be listening, hit that like and subscribe. So many bills, hats got the mafia vibe.
A lot to describe like a Roach reporter. Teacher on OF, don't report her. Trying to live life with my mannequin wife and my mannequin kids if that's my mannequin right.
Been a fan of this guy since a Roach Motel. Couple 100 weeks in, still funny as hell. From the tit cups to back sis and blind eyes, Potter has one of the best shows of all time.
Now watch this drive. Pop a couple tall cans with the Roach King and caught the vibe. Ready to pour more, scurry out the floorboards, hit like, comment, and subscribe.